I'm gonna challenge all the men on this thing, and including starting with myself. But I think this is going to be the acronym we're going to use to help us effectively communicate, and it's PEEL. PEEL. Okay, there's going to be 4 things, all of us, including myself, not including myself, starting with myself, and then going from there. I think that in all of our communication, that it incorporates at least one of these 4 things in mind, right? If not all 4, but sometimes not all 4, but at least one of those 4 things in mind. Okay, so the first one the acronym is PEEL, PEEL. So the first one is going to be P, and the first one for P is that in all things when we're communicating, that we're always careful to take a pause. I think a lot of times we want to respond because, we're in the throes of the day, we're busy, we want to just respond, and we just respond. And sometimes because we just are saying whatever we want to say, or whatever's on our mind or in our heart or whatever, we say something and it doesn't come out necessarily how we wanted it to come out, but it's because we wanted to address it to be done and then move on to the next thing. Or if something was said that we didn't like, we wanted to let it be known that we didn't like it. And if we take the pause, sometimes before we say it, just to pause, it may allow us to recalibrate what we're going to say and repackage it differently. It can still have the same impact. We talk about impact, right? That's how you can find success. But repackaging it with a pause in there may help us deliver the message in a lot more smoother component. So that's the first one. The first one is pause. The second one, I'm writing it down here, sorry guys, is empathize. Not everybody, we can't always expect that the other person understands or will understand what we're going to say next. Or sometimes when we get something or we're told something, let's say it's from our kids or our significant other or our client, or whatever, sometimes it may come off and we may want to say something from there. But if we just take the moment to empathize with the person sending us this message, that, hey, they may not necessarily have the same capacity we do, that, hey, they may have had a hard day, or, hey, they may be going through a circumstance like the hurricane, etc. If we can, at least when we communicate, remember to empathize with the person we're speaking with, that can help us also effectively communicate with the individual that, hey, they understand what I'm saying or where I'm coming from, etc. And it's received different. And it could be something negative. For example, if somebody's supposed to be paying you because they were supposed the payment was due on the on the first of the month for the rent, right? Let's say if you got real estate or whatever. Okay, now it's the second or the third of the month, and you're saying, "Where's my money?" Right? I'm supposed to get paid. But, in speaking with them, you could say, hey, I need the money tomorrow or you're out of there. Okay, you could say that. And could you be right? You could be right. But if you unpack it a little bit, maybe the person's mother, God forbid, passed away a week ago and you haven't talked to them and they've just been caught up with the funeral arrangements and beyond, but they forgot that they have to pay the rent. But you come in here talking about, hey, I need it by tomorrow. You might very well be, because the contract says that it's supposed to be paid by the 3rd. But you missed it, right? Because you didn't empathize. The next one from Peel. In everything that we do, that we at least try to find a way to encourage, right? And again, encouraging could be also negative. It could be also something. For example, you may have somebody that's working for you that's not up to par. Maybe they're slacking or maybe they're not performing well or whatever. Now, you very well could tell them, hey, man, you need to get it to get. Yes, of course. Is there a time and a place for that? Of course there is. But in other times, it's like, listen, you're here because we need you and we see the value in you, but we really need you to be that person that we know you can be. You're saying the same thing. You have repackaged the message. It will be received as such. It says, yeah, you know what? I haven't been giving my best. I've had a lot going on, but I'm going to get it together. Okay. You said you're going to get it together. So we should not be having this conversation again because you said you're going to give us what we know you're capable of doing. You've already held the person accountable. You've encouraged them to be the best that they can be, and you didn't necessarily deliver. Now, some other times it could be different other ways, but again, it's about effectively communicating. And then the last one, when it comes to PEEL, right? So PEEL is love. That in all things, everything we do, that it's always at the minimum of all these things, Peel, at the minimum, you got to have love in all of it. In everything we communicate, that it's always done out of love, because none of us are perfect. All of us have opportunities, starting with me. I've got areas of opportunity. I've got things where I got to be better, but people still love me even on my shortcomings as an individual. So for me not to be able to communicate in a way, giving that love to somebody else, knowing that I'm receiving love because of my shortcomings, if I can at least deliver my messages, whether they're positive, whether they're not positive, whether it's to, let someone go, whether it's to hire them, whether it's to give them good news, whether it's to give them bad news, whatever the case may be, but that it's always founded and delivered with love, we'll find ourselves effectively communicating as a man. So Peel, pause, empathize, encourage, and love. If we can do those 4 things and challenge ourselves to do that effectively, we can effectively communicate as men going forward.